Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Sorlock Sorcerer Warlock build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. This is actually one of the strongest class combinations. They both use charisma, but I'm actually going to have a total of 4 classes in this, and you'll see it's actually extremely powerful. So I would recommend starting as a sorcerer. This gives us constitution saving throw proficiency, so we'll be holding our concentrations more frequently. As for the cantrips that I would recommend, I like to have Mage Hand because we can use this to throw water bottles and also use it to throw healing potions, so it's not a bad cantrip to have. Minor Illusion can group enemies together for starting combat, and also for some stealth. And I'd also recommend having Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp, because both of these can be increased in damage based off of Create Water, so these all work together very well. If you're the face of the party, consider having friends for the dialogue, but be mindful that on higher difficulties it could cause them to become hostile. And Firebolt's not a bad one to have as well, but we do get a lot of different options here. As for our early game spells, I think that Shield is an essential one. This increase our armor class by 5 and take no damage from magic missile. That is extremely useful for this because early game we're not going to have the best survivability, so having that is extremely nice. And then also Thunderwave, Magic Missile, and Chromatic Orb are 3 other really great options. For the purpose of this, I'll take Magic Missile because it's just nice to have a consistent damage option early game. And for our subclass, I thought hard between the Draconic Bloodline and Storm Sorcerer, but I do think that actually the Storm Sorcerer is the better option here. This gives us a bonus action fly that does not spring the opportunity attacks. Draconic can give you the resilience, which will give us increased armor class and a bit more health, but I do think that the Storm Sorcerer is actually the better choice here. As for our stats, now, if this is your main character, you can use your charisma and take the hags here to make this 18. Otherwise, a 16 charisma would be good. We do need a bit of intelligence and a bit of, I guess, constitution as well. However, we can swap out our intelligence and use the intelligence circlet. It does sacrifice 2 points of charisma, but there's a few different ways that we can go about this. Having a good amount of dexterity is going to be great for our armor class and also for our initiative. Strength is kind of the stat we can dump, and then also constitution up to 16 will give us a good amount of survivability. However, if you're in Act 3, I would highly recommend using the Constitution Amulet, and that way we can dump our Constitution and focus more on like dexterity. So if you have the Constitution Amulet, we'll go with stats like this and take our intelligence up to ideally like 15, 16-ish. You can go with something like that and then put the rest of the points into like, even taking the points in the charisma to put the hag's hair on, or 2 points of strength. So you can dump constitution, but go with the stats earlier if you don't have the constitution amulet, because that can really open things up to give us a lot of different options. So I'll be going through the full leveling guide. We're going to add in only 1 level of wizard. This gives us a lot of utility, so it's highly worth taking. And as for the spells, I would like to take Chromatic Orb probably at our 2nd level. This can be changed to lightning or cold damage. It does have more damage than thunder, and we do get a nice little bonus to our thunder damage as a Draconic or a Storm Sorcerer, so that's really good. As for the metamagics, I would recommend taking Twin Spell is awesome for the Twin Haste. That makes us one of the most busted classes in the game. And Distance Spell increases the range. Sometimes that can be kind of useful, so we'll take that for 2nd level. The Warlock does add some nice things in, but I think the Sorcerer has the strongest start, so we're going to start with the Sorcerer here. Hold Person is actually a really good spell to go with. Holds an enemy still and attacks when 3 meters become critical. Scorching Ray is another option for damage if you want. I would either go with Hold Person, Scorching Ray, or Misty Step. I'm going to go with Hold Person because I find the benefits to that is so high that it's just worth taking. And Quicken Spell, spells that cost a bonus action, or spells that cast an action, cost a bonus action instead, so we can do 2 spells per turn. Really nice, because that opens things up big time for the damage options in this class. As for our cantrips at the next level, take maybe like Firebolt. Even Bow and Chill to stop a target from healing can be really good. And Friends if you don't already have it. As for the next leveled spell, we do have a bonus action Fly, so we can cast a spell and fly. So Misty Step's a little bit less ideal than some other classes, so we're going to go with Scorching Ray here. Darkness can be another option too, because we're going to be able to get the Devil's Sight potentially, which gives us the ability to see in darkness. As for the feat, some people like Warcaster, but if we have the Constitution Amulet, I wouldn't recommend having that because we already get half of that covered. So I think the best thing is ability improvement or get Alert for the +5 to initiative. I want to take the charisma up. Ideally, we'll have this at 20 for the hag's hair, so that would be an ideal way to have our stats allocated. Now, level 5, we get some really great spells. I think it's best to actually go with Fireball or Haste for 1st level because we can Twin Haste, giving ourselves an extra action. So we get a free cast of Haste, and then we can cast something like Lightning Bolt. and we can twin haste to someone else, so then we can give our fighter like 6 attacks. Really good. So we're going to go with that for our first level there. And then I think Lightning Bolt is the best option here. We do get our Storm Sorcery spell, so we get Call Lightning, which can be good if you're low on spell slots and you don't want to use Eldritch Blast. We got Sleet Storm here, Gust of Wind, Create or Destroy Water, and Thunder Wave. We also get the Heart of the Storm, so whenever you cast a spell, level 1 or higher, that deals lightning or thunder, you create a small local storm, and all enemies within take 3 lightning or 3 thunder damage, and we gain resistance to those damage types. So, nice spike in terms of our skill level here, and I would probably recommend taking Lightning Bolt because this is Create Water, plus this can deal upwards to 96 damage, which is really nice. Some people do prefer Fireball, however, so you could take that, or even Counterspell, but we're going to go with that. Now, this is where we can level, and we can add in a, if you want, we can proceed further and take like Ice Storm or Wall of Fire, but I think it's actually best at this point to add in the Warlock. So for our cantrips, we're going to take Eldritch Blast, obviously that is the best choice here, so you can go with, we can also, I guess, add in the Wizard or the Tempest Cleric at this point, but I think that the Warlock brings the most bang for our buck in terms of what we get out of it, so we're going to go with that there, and I think that Bone Chill and Eldritch Blast are 2 great choices. As for our subclass, we can go with this to get ourselves temporary health, which is really nice. Some people like the Mortal Reminder when you land a critical hit, but we're not going to be doing as many critical hits here, only really from Eldritch Blast and maybe Scorching Ray. We do get Dissonant Whispers, which is pretty decent, but I honestly think that the Fiend here is the best choice, because it'll give us Armor of Agathis, Dark One's Blessing, and we're only going to take a couple levels of Warlock, so as for the spells that we would take, I like Hellish Rebuke for a nice reaction. Anytime we can turn our reaction into damage, that's always good. We can also go with Hex, which is not a bad choice, especially if you're doing like Scorching Ray. When you make your attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage, you can give it disadvantage. Not really huge, but we'll go with Armor of Agathis, because we normally get that from the Draconic Sorcerer when I play Source. So we'll go with those 2 stats there. Those 2 spell slots there. So, at next level, Warlock level 2, we get our Eldritch Invocations. We also get a choice of another spell. Command can be a good one. This is going to be cast off of our Charisma, so that's really nice. Arms of Adar can stop the target from using reactions, but we also have Shocking Grasp with a better damage type than Necrotic for that. Hex or Command would be the best choices here. And then for our Eldritch Invocations, Agonizing Blast will add our Charisma modifier, so that'd be a +5, assuming we have the Hags here, to our Charisma, or to our Eldritch Blast. And Repelling Blast gets that pushback. Now, I am actually a really big fan of Devil's Sight, so if you don't want the Eldritch Blast pushback, Devil's Sight can be a really good option. But Eldritch Blast is such a good damage option for if we run out of spell slots that I think it's best to go with the Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast, but be mindful that Devil's Sight is also a really great choice as well, because it gives us the ability to see in darkness. I am playing as a drow, so we do get a bit of darkness, but not magical darkness. Now, I don't think it's actually best to continue on with the Warlock, because, well, Pact of the Blade and Pact of the Chain can be nice. I think it's actually best to stick back to the Sorcerer, or even go a step further and get ourselves heavy armor. So we can take the Cleric, which will give us a few different spells here, Guidance, Produce Flame, and Sacred Flame. As for the subclass, Tempest Domain, Fire and Fire, we do get Thunder Wave, which we already have, and Fog Cloud is really nice, blinds and heavily obscures creatures. But we also get Wrath of the Storm, so we get a reaction that can deal lightning damage or thunder damage, so that's awesome to have. And for our prepared spells, we don't really have many because we have low wisdom. So I would recommend, we already have Create Water, so I think Healing Word's actually the best choice here, because this gives us a bonus action heal. It's not much healing, it can only be 1 health, but where this shines is if you have a teammate that went down, you can use this as a bonus action up to 18 meters to bring them back up. Normally, if you have a teammate that goes down, you have to run over to them, use an action. This allows us to do a bonus action, pick our teammates back up. However, Sanctuary is another really great option, so you can choose one of those too. And even Bless, but typically I would have a Cleric on the team as well in addition to this. This is just to give us the heavy armor proficiencies and martial weapons and all the good benefits that come with it. So yeah, we also get a choice of a few different spells, but we'll take 1 level of Cleric. However, we could go further to take the Destructive Wrath to give ourselves the ability to deal maximum amount of lightning damage, so our Lightning Bolt can become a little bit stronger. But I actually think it's best to add in the Wizard here, because the Wizard allows us to scribe spells, and that's why I went with the higher intelligence there, because that can actually give us some freedom to do some cool stuff. So take whatever cantrips you don't have, light, Acid Splash, I guess we'll go with those. As for the spells, we actually get quite a few. So I would take probably Find Familiar. That's a good one to have. We already get Shield. I don't know why it's unequipped there, but even Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Long Strider can be a good one. Witch Bolt isn't amazing, but there are a couple times where Witch Bolt's actually not bad. There's certain enemies that will only get hurt by Witch Bolt, which is funky, and the Sorcerer's Sundries. We'll take Shield because I don't know why it's not equipped there. Ice Knife is another decent choice for damage. And I guess for the last one, False Slave can be okay, but we'll go with Witch Bolt just for this choice there. I don't know why Shield's not equipped, but we'll go with something like this. Long Strider, you can have someone at your camp cast that, but you can also cast it yourself. It's a level 1 spell slot, so not bad. But we're typically going to be taking some other things from the Sorcerer. Now, level 2, we could go with the... you could progress a little bit further and take something like the Evocation Wizard, which is going to protect your allies, or even Necromancer, which will give you health back if you take out an enemy with a spell. But I actually think that it's best to go back to the Sorcerer. So we got a lot of different subclasses going on there, but they actually add a lot of benefits. Now, for the next leveled spell from the Sorcerer, I think that it's good to take something like Ice Storm, just for the ability to create an icy surface and potentially interrupt the concentration of spellcasters. And yeah, I guess we could swap out some of the spells from earlier. We do have Shield there. That's strange that it allows it to take it twice, but yeah, we'll take that for the Wizard, and we get one more level. I think it's best to stick with the Sorcerer because you're going to get more sorcery points, which are actually really useful, and we get ourselves a level 5 spells. So something like Wall of Fire can be pretty useful. Counter Spell. So we have decent option. Confusion can actually be a great crowd control. It hits like Fireball size, but it confuses a group of enemies for 3 turns. So that's actually a really good spell. I'm a big fan of Confusion. It can be really useful. It makes them maybe attack each other. They have a 1 in 10 chance of keeping their normal action and attacking you. So 90% of the time, they're not going to be attacking you, which is awesome. But Wall of Fire is another great option if you want to go that route. But we get ourselves the ability score improvement. So Alert can be good to give yourself +5 initiative, but I think it's actually best to either take up your intelligence to 18 or take, assuming we have the Hags here, to take that up to 20. Use it on a different stat for this class, but taking our intelligence up lets us prepare another spell and cast our wizard spells with a higher chance of hitting. So where this truly shines is we have the ability to, I guess I'll have to find Gale's. I have Gale's spells. We can get Chain Lightning from our spells here, so we can take, I guess we'll throw this into here. We can take Cone of Cold, which is an incredible spell. Circle of Death is also a nice one too. It's a high level Necromancer spell, which deals a ton of damage. And we can also take, I don't know where my Chain Lightning scroll is. It's probably in my storage somewhere, but you get a lot of awesome options like Otto's Irresistible Dance, Dominate Person, which I wouldn't really recommend. But there is scrolls of Chain Lightning. I don't know where it is. But you can take Chain Lightning. So that is really good. So I'll be going over to gear now. And we can learn stuff like, you can learn Cone of Cold. We can, I guess we can't even learn level 6 spells. So Chain Lightning might not work there. But what we want to do is we want to go into here, prepare our spells, and then we can take our Cone of Gold. So that's a really good damage option there. And whatever, you got the ability to take 5 spells of your choosing. So Globe of Invulnerability, another decent choice. We got the Tempest Cleric there, so you got your choice to swap out your spells. The Warlock adds a few spells there, and then we get all of our Sorcerer spells that we can swap if you need to. But for our gear, we have the Birthright hat on, so ideally it would take our Charisma up to 22, which give us +6 to our Eldritch Blast, so that's an extra 18 damage on our Eldritch Blast, which is awesome. Constitution Amulet is great. I'm using a Strength Potion, that doesn't really matter. We got a nice +2 to Initiative, and then our Intelligence is going to be able to cast a lot of spells. So we get a lot of damage resistances, which is awesome. And we are weak to, I have Psychic, I'm holding a Psychic Resonant Stone, but typically, Birthright Hat, Cloak of Protection, we have a nice 20 or 18 armor class. However, I'm wearing the Wave Mother's Robes, which will give us that fire and cold resistance. What we can do is we can actually throw on heavy armor. So something like the Armor Persistence will give us a 25 armor class, and we can cast spells with that. So that is extremely useful. And we also get all incoming damage reduced by 2, plus a 1d4 to our saving throw, and Blade Ward for half physical damage. So this is a really good option for this class, because otherwise they're somewhat squishy. And then we can also fly to get away from combat. The Gloves of the Belligerent Sky, when the wearer deals thunder, lightning, or radiant damage, which we have lots of options for, 2 turns of reverberation. Once you have 5, it can potentially knock the creature prone. It lowers their dexterity, and dexterity saving throws, so you're going to land your fireballs more frequently with other classes. Extremely useful. And then we can also go with the, I guess, the evasive shoes there for the +1 armor class. If you didn't want to use the intelligence and you're like in an earlier act, you can actually go with the intelligence circlet here, which will give us the, I guess I don't have it, it's in my chest, but it would set our intelligence to 17, so that can be really nice. I'm also using, I guess we can swap this one out. The Crypt Lord ring is not a bad one to have, because the Crypt Lord ring will allow you to cast a level 6 create undead spell, which is really nice. I would recommend having it on someone at least, because that's such a good spell. And we'd even go with something like, I guess there's other choices for damage here. Infuse our weapon, that's not really awesome. Arcane Synergy for 2 turns is pretty nice when we deal damage with a cantrip. There's lots of different rings that can be pretty useful here, like the Ring of Free Action. We don't have any ability to overcome difficult terrain, so that can be a good one there. Whenever a foe fails a saving throw against one of your spells, Mental Fatigue, that can be pretty good. This one is also really good too, so the Ring of Spiteful Thunder. So this gives us, whenever the target deals thunder damage to a reverberating creature, it becomes dazed unless it succeeds a Constitution saving throw. So that actually pairs well with the Gloves of Belligerent Sky. We can even go a step further and add in the Boots of Stormy Clamor when the wearer deals a condition upon a hostile creature and inflicts 2 turns of reverberation. We can actually inflict, if you have the ability Drain, which is a illithid ability, that counts as an action, so that will actually give us 2 more stacks of reverberation, which is really nice. But the typical strategy with this build is to, we have our Eldritch Blast for guaranteed good damage. That should be +6 from Agonizing Blast. And what's nice is Eldritch Blast actually scales off of our character level, so we can cast Eldritch Blast just as a normal action, or just as a normal action, get 3 hits off it, so that's really good. As for low-level spells, we have 2 Warlock spell slots, which are nice just to have. So we have 6 level 1 spell slots, so we should be slinging spells as much as we can. I guess the Warlock does interrupt our level wizard spells. I guess that's why we can't get Global Invulnerability, but we can get Cone of Cold, so that is an awesome damage option. In addition to that, we can also take, with the Sorcerer, we can take the Conjure Elementals. I highly recommend going with that. I probably have the scrolls somewheres, but Conjure Elemental goes really hard on this build because that gives us 2 more people to soak up damage for us. And then if we need to, we can also convert our sorcery points into spell slots. And even we can turn our spell slots into sorcery points. Now, the Marka Heshkir is awesome because we get Kareska's Favor, which gives us increased frost damage or lightning. So Bolts of Doom and the Frost of the Dark Winter are incredible. I like the Bolts of Doom because this will give us a free chain lightning. And that also counts as using our Tempest magic, so we can fly around, which is awesome. But Chain Lightning, that is the big one there, because that is going to stack our reverberation on targets. So Chain Lightning is extremely powerful for that reason. See, you also got the ability Drain there, which is a condition. So that would be 4 stacks of our that'd be 4 stacks of a reverberation on the target there, and then we also get a free lightning bolt. So typically we want to have lightning damage on the target because that's going to give us the most amount of damage. So going with our Create Water, which I can't find here. We do have Create Water from the Storm Sorcerer. But Create Water would be the first step, and then we would slap down something like an upcasted Chromatic Orb can be really good. This can create an Icy Surface to knock people prone, and that would create a Lightning Surface, which would be extra damage. But we can upcast this upwards of 48 damage. Also, we got Call Lightning. If we run out of spell slots, we can continue to Call Lightning, which is nice. And we can even upcast that and continue to, like, you can use a level 5 spell slot upwards of 50 damage and continue to slap that down. We also could go with the 2 levels of Cleric if you wanted to, which will give us the further ability to deal a lot of damage with our lightning, because that would maximize our lightning damage. So we got stuff like the Lightning Bolt there, which is really great. Cone of Cold for damage. Like, what's nice about Cone of Cold, I don't like doing this to my team, but you can see there, it hits in a huge area, and it can do a ton of damage. No one got angry at that. That's kind of funny. We can follow it up with another Cone of Cold. So extremely powerful, as we already knocked Jahara down, and we're literally almost knocking everyone else out. So that is the beautiful part about this build, is it's so powerful that we can just continue to blast people with multiple hits there. yeah, this build is absolutely bonkers. So there it is. That is a Sorlock build in Baldur's Gate 3. Lots of options for damage, utility. You got the sorcerer, you got the wizard, we got ourselves a cat. We have it all with this build. And you can also use, don't forget, create elementals and create minor elementals work perfectly here. So there it is. That is a Sorlock build in Baldur's Gate 3. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.